Hi, welcome to my gear video.
Okay, we're just going to start going down the list on my lighter pack. And we'll start with the Z-Pack Arcall. I went with the 70 liter this year. Last time in 23, my 55 liter was a little tight on some of the big food carries, and I just felt like I needed a little extra room. Have the flag just for fun, let people know I'm coming or going. The Z-Pack hip belts are pretty nice. I have this Chicken Tramper phone case. It's not waterproof, but it does work well for me. I have this little tiny pouch here, and that is just to carry Belle. I got Belle out of a Kinder Egg on my Camino del Norte hike, and it became kind of a running joke to sneak her into the videos and see if my friends could count them, so I'm going to keep doing that. I have a kind of a basic water bottle pouch and a umbrella holder, so that's it for that. For my tent, it's going to be my favorite tent. It's the big Agnes Tiger Wall UL2. Tried the duplex on the PCT and just absolutely hated it. Traded it in Julian and couldn't have been happier. It was so much more comfy and well worth the extra weight for me. I also do take the ground sheet, not so much to protect the tent, but this allows me to set up the rain fly first in the rain and then crawl underneath it and set the tent up. Did this multiple times on the AT. If you do this, practice it at home first. I will be reusing my Enlightened Equipment Revelation from 2023. It's quite toasty. It's a 20-degree quilt. And I also have my Hilltop Tax dry sack for it. For my sleeping pad, I will be using the Nemo Tensor regular wide. Last time I had started with a Thermalite 20-inch wide, and I bought this one in Julian on a whim, and it made such a huge difference in my sleep that I will never go back to the narrow pad. The only thing I don't like about this is the valve. I always feel like I'm going to tear it when I open it. My Sea to Summit pillow has got about 3,000 miles on it. It's a little grungy, but it's still holding air well, so that'll go with me. So for cooking, I have the BRS stove, and I actually got this out of the hiker box in Julian, as the one I was carrying had developed a bent pot support. Now my pot, same Totes 900 milliliter that I've been carrying since the AT. No reason to replace it. Same with the Totes long-handled spoon. I'll be carrying 4 1-liter smart water bottles and a 0.7 liter for my pack strap. This is a combo that works well for me. One little mini bit lighter lasted me the entire AT. In fact, you can actually see it here, and it still works. So I always start with the GSI coffee cup with the intention to drink a nice hot cup of coffee in the morning. At some point, I start just throwing coffee packets into my water bottle and starting to hike, at which point it gets sent home. I also, on the last trip, discovered how wonderful a pop koozie is. And so you just kind of bring your rice to boil, stick it in here, come back 15 minutes later, and it's done. You have to play with the amount of water a little, but it's so much easier than sitting there and trying to simmer it and stir it. I prefer the Sawyer. The only difference I I always start with a fresh water filter, and my preferred is the Sawyer Squeeze. The only thing I do is I get these hose washers with the wire mesh on it, and the washers themselves are stronger than the Sawyer washers. This year they had this Sawyer branded C-Knot bag available as part of a package, so I figured I'd give that a try this time. My night core headlamp still works great. No reason to change that. My Garmin Mini 2 tracker works just fine. Battery's still good, so good to go. Have the Fenix 6 watch. One thing I love about this watch is that it has built-in topo maps with trails, including the PCT. So I have a complete extra backup navigation on my wrist. So phone, can't show you that because I'm using it. So I have just some very basic earbuds. I resisted going wireless for a long time, but if you watch my 23 videos, you'll see that I lost those wired earbuds to bushes like 3 times before they finally disappeared. My battery packs are going to be a real mix this time out. My first one is the Nightcore 10K. I really wanted to love the Nightcore brand. This one did okay. My 20K one was terrible, gave me nothing but issues, and I just don't trust them anymore. My second one is just kind of a random Anchor. Always trust the Anchor brand. This one's a little heavier than it needs to be, but I had it laying around, so I'm taking this one. This one is one I haven't tried before. It's an Inu brand, 10K. It has really good reviews. It's actually in weight between the Nightcore and the Anchor. The only bad thing they had in the reviews was that the button on the side would possibly turn on in your pack and turn on this little light. So I took my Dremel and just ground it down from a convex to a concave button. So I think that should help. I also have an Anchor 65 watt charger, and that's enough to charge all 3 of those bricks at once. And then just some generic charging cords. Where I would normally just use a Ziploc bag, I decided to dig out like a cheap dry sack for electronic stuff. Ziploc works okay, but the zipper breaks pretty quick. For my puffy jacket, I'm still using the Arc'teryx that I used on the AT in 2019. I'm a little too fat for it right now, but that'll get better as I get hiking. And of course I got my Dundee hat with my patch from Jimmy, Slim Jim. He gives these away to PCT hikers, and that's awfully nice of him. I use the Columbia Silver Ridge convertible pants, kind of cargo shorty. They're pretty light, quick dry, and I've ordered them for several long hikes. I have a REI Sahara sun hoodie, thumb holes, lightweight, quick drying. I wore a version of this last time and it worked well for me. I have 2 pairs of these ex officio, pronunciation, boxer briefs. Please don't judge me. These have about 3,500 miles on them. I keep thinking I need to replace them, but then I look at them and go, eh. I'll be wearing the Ultra Olympic 5 trail runners. Thought about going up to the 6s, but I can still get the 5s for half the price, and I really like the design and feel of these ones. So I've got a pair of Dirty Girl gaiters. I actually bought these in Idlewild, and they work pretty well. I've always been a big fan of the Right socks with the liners built in, but my last 2 hikes, I got holes in the big toe right away. So I've decided to switch to the Darn Toughs hiker favorite, and I know they'll have a lot more longevity. So I will be taking the Z-Pack Possum Down hat. This thing is so warm and cozy and super light. I'll be taking a cheap pair of knit gloves from Amazon. Last time I tried the Z-Pack Possum Down gloves, and while they were warm enough, they just wore out really quickly. So cheaper is better. I will always be a Frog Tog rain top guy. It's 100% waterproof. They don't wet out, and they don't breathe either, but I don't sweat a lot, so it works for me. But since the Frog Tog pants are terrible, I use the anti-gravity gear rain pants, and these have got 3,500 miles or so on them. So my buff comes from the website The Trek, and it's got a map of the PCT with some of the highlights on it. So these are called Ranger panties, and it's what the Army Rangers wear for physical training. I kind of bought these a while back, but never really wore them. I took them on the Camino with me on a whim and discovered that they are super comfy for sleeping. You can wear them for hiking. So I am definitely taking these with me to sleep in and to maybe hike. I do like to have a town shirt, just because I don't really feel like the stink ever really gets out of the shirt, and I want to spare the town people. I bought this in Julian, and it doesn't weigh much. It's light and comfy, and it's fun to wear in town. So I'm still using my The Deuce, and it's got many, many miles and dug many, many holes. Still using my same Z-Pack wallet. Nothing to change there. I've got this little DIY first aid kit. It's mostly Leukotape, a few small Band-Aids, one thing of gauze, some pills, Benadryl, Imodium, Tums, whatever you feel like you need. It wouldn't hurt to have. And it's also got this tiny little Swiss Army knife, which I found very useful on all my long hikes. I also carry a little repair kit, which is mostly just tenacious tape. I've got a needle and thread, an extra hose washer, and some water purification tablets, just in case something happens to my filter. So hygiene is mostly just toothpaste and toothbrush. I have always carried floss with me, and the thing is, when I'm actually out on the trail, I can't seem to bring myself to stick my hands in my mouth. So I was only ever really flossing when I was in town in a hotel. So this time I'm gonna try taking these dental picks with me and see if that'll work better for me. For my poles, sorry, you can't beat the Cascade Mountain Tech carbon poles. They're cheap, they are sturdy, they work for me on the complete AT without an issue. Since I'm a big Dixie fan and a bit of a dork, I do have the neck knife. I added some paracord around the handle and a ferro rod on the necklace. My feet get cold when I'm sleeping, and I've tried a bunch of different socks. I've tried down booties, and unless I can rub my bare feet together, my feet will always feel cold in the sleeping bag. At times, when I'm not needing to wear my puffy, I've been able to stuff it down into the quilt and wrap it around my feet as extra insulation, and that helps a lot. But when I need to wear the jacket, I'm kind of out of luck. So I did find this, and this is a down foot box, and it's just the very bottom of the bag. So I can slip my feet into that at the bottom, and hopefully my feet will stay nice and toasty with the extra insulation. Unfortunately, they do not make this anymore. I am including a link to where I saw it in my lighter pack, so maybe it'll come back someday. This is the Gossamer Gear 1/8 of an inch thick sit pad. In addition to being able to fold up and use it as a sit pad, you can extend it full length. You can put it on your sleeping pad, you can rest on it during a break. You can also write a little sign on it to help in your hitchhiking. And I was pretty impressed with it in 23 and got a new one. It does kind of wear quickly though, although I've still got use of it after my PC attempt when I took it on the Camino. So I got a fresh one for this trip. My food bag is from Hilltop Packs, and I got it printed with the New Mexico state flag. Also from Hilltops is this little dog bone, and that makes doing a PCT hang super easy. Although I would recommend a little carabiner here to run your line through. My rock bag and line, the bag is actually just the stuff sack from my pillow. I messed my knee up pretty badly in a motorcycle accident when I was a kid, so I always carry a knee brace with me on these long hikes. I try not to use it unless it's really hurting. After about 3,000 miles, my umbrella finally started leaking and giving up the ghost on the Camino. So this time I went with the Hyperlight model, and mostly just because of these little vents here, hoping that maybe they'll help in the wind a little. Stuff I'm planning to ship to Kennedy Meadows for the Sierras, but it also depends on how much snow San Jacinto and Baden Powell get. I might need it sooner, but impossible to tell right at this second. So I have the Catula pronunciation ice spikes. They work really well for me on San Jacinto, and I'll be taking them again. I also put a pair of snow baskets in the bag with my spikes because I think it's worth swapping them out on my poles. So these are Nike thermal leggings, and these are cold proof thermal top. You know, I keep looking around for something that might be better, warmer, or lighter, but I can't really find anything that's like a significant difference. But you know, if you have an idea, you know, leave it in the comments and I'll take a look. Thanks. So if I actually make it to the Sierras this time, I do have my bear canister. It's the BV 500, and I can't really say how well it works since I didn't use it. So this is the Black Diamond Raven Ice Axe. I bought the protectors in Idlewild after I strapped it to my pack and realized exactly how sharp everything was. It's also got the leash. I guess it's very debatable whether a leash is a good idea or not. I'm not going into the debates on that. I used it. I'm sure I missed a few bits and bobs along the way, but that's about it for my gear video. I'm going to leave a link to my lighter pack down below and a link to my 2023 gear video if you'd like to compare my loadouts. If you've got any questions, I can try to answer them down in the comments. If you've got any suggestions, I would love to hear them. Please like, subscribe, and follow along this year, and we'll see how far I get.